So my name's Alan, and this is the home that DiMase Architects and Project Living Chris has built for Sophie and I, and looks like it's coming along really well, and we shouldn't be too far off finishing. In terms of what I've enjoyed about the process, I think it's been quite smooth. I really like putting my ideas into reality, and also having Chris and Anthony both having their input into it as well. It's just really nice to see it come along. One of my main reasons why I felt Anthony would have been a good architect for this process was because he obviously is very familiar with the intricacies of this particular council, which I think some of you may know can be difficult. And I felt that someone like him would have been helpful to navigate through that, and he certainly has been. But one of the challenges was, for example, this home originally had the fairly standard layout with the corridor and the 4 rooms, and everything was out the back, and we wanted to move the bathroom into the main part of the house. And one of the issues was that the logical place for your ensuite would have come off the smallest bedroom, which is the one that we're standing in now. Coming to grips with the fact that perhaps that's not going to be something that was going to work for this house took some time, but with Anthony helped us work through, how we can make that work in a practical sense, even though we couldn't achieve having the ensuite. From the building point of view, certainly is not unusual for these places. We had hoped to maintain a lot more original structure and limit some of the expense, but ultimately I think it was good working with someone like Chris, who actually has a lot of practical experience in the area, who was actually able to give very good reasons as to why we couldn't. It would be preferable to just say, relay the entire floor, which is something that we hadn't anticipated we'd need to do, or reframe the entire house, which is something that we hadn't anticipated we had to do. Again, there was probably a lot of expense spent into over-engineering the concrete slab and having it, pierce down to the bedrock, which something that I hadn't contemplated needing to do. But again, I think it was good to work with people who were able to offer sound reasons as to why the additional expense should be appropriate. I think it's been good to work with a team who everyone is focused on delivering, excellent quality products, and where compromises had been made, it was always about sort of trying to deliver something that's going to be as long-lasting as possible, and being able to justify why we spent a little bit more in certain areas where others may not have done that. I don't think we've made any significant changes. We've made some improvements. For example, there's some, if you look down the main corridor, there's some windows at the top which wasn't in the original design. That was at the suggestion of Chris, which is a really good idea. We've made, there's been a number of what I'd say minor changes throughout, which only really were discovered as the structure started going up and you got a sense of the space and the scale of what's going on. But I don't think we've deviated greatly from what we had originally envisioned. The main challenge about building, I think, as in all instances, is really about compromises. What you can and can't do with the space that you have, the resources you have, and the rules that you have to work with. I had previously had a home which needed quite a lot of work, and it was I learnt a lot about the industry, but it's a very unpleasant process. But this time it's actually much more enjoyable to be able to do your own project, put your own ideas in, and I think I'm feeling quite proud of the fact that we're able to build a home that is quite energy efficient and incorporating lots of ideas about being environmentally friendly. For example, we've got extensive solar electricity and heat pumps and energy efficient heating, and the house is very well insulated. And I think all those things make me feel quite proud of what we've done, for going forward in terms of hopefully doing our little bit. The very interesting thing was seeing how Anthony and Chris had developed the relationship over this build. I think they're a little bit hesitant, having not worked with each other before, and it's interesting to watch them suss each other out. There's a bit of disagreement and some robust discussions, but I think we've come along and they've developed a bit of a bromance, much like how this house has come along. We've been very lucky in that I feel like working with this team, we've avoided many of the pitfalls that would happen with building, and certainly with many of my colleagues and friends who have done some building, they've often had a lot of complaints. I feel like we haven't had any of those. Our issues have really been things that are inevitable when you take on a project of this type, and they've both dealt with these in an expeditious and pragmatic way. I never thought I'd actually grow to like a heritage home so much. I've always heard about all the problems you have with them, but in fact it's actually been quite enjoyable to be able to preserve this and restore it back to the way it would have been. but then have it flow into the new section and make it, you know, look really beautiful and work together. And I think Anthony's also very, you know, proud of how he's designed it and made the two sort of somewhat disparate elements come together really nicely. In terms of moving in, we're very excited. We look like we should be able to get in the end of July, early August. Look, I think we've been living in very interesting times, as we all know, but we've been very lucky that we've been not been delayed by current events. And it's really good to actually have something like this to look forward to in times like this, because I think who knows how long this is going to go on for. This is, you know, COVID's obviously not going to go away anytime soon, and you know there may be further lockdowns and we might be stuck at home, but you know there are worse places to be stuck at. I'm quite happy to be here, and you know if we're stuck here for a few weeks, so be it. It's a very nice, you know, I'm looking forward to it. It's a very nice place. It's going to be very functional, and you know, we can certainly relax and enjoy ourselves if we have to be spending extended amounts of time here.